Meanwhile, thousands of Syrian protesters were seen waving new flags in Israeli-controlled Golan Heights after it continues to hold back the region. Protesters as well as the UN continue to take their calls to take back the region after Israel took over following the fall of Assad regime. Take a look.
Dozens of protesters waved new Syrian flags in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights and called for the return of the area to Syria. Following the fall of the Syrian regime, Israel moved its troops to the Syrian side and has been operating in and around the region since. Israel took over the Golan Heights after Assad's government was toppled by Syria's former rebel leader Ahmed al-Sara. Israel initially occupied the area in 1967 war, and ever since, Syria's attempts to take back the region have failed. As a result, Israel's actions have been facing condemnation, with critics accusing Israel of violating the 1974 armistice signed with Syria. As Israel continues to control the Syria's region, locals were seen chanting slogans calling for Golan Heights once again be under Syrian control.
نحن بالجولان السوري المحتل نحن جزء لا يتجزأ من الجمهورية العربية السورية، ومهما يعني طال الزمن تبقى الجولان أرض عربية سورية. يعني رح ترجع حتما ما رجعتش بالحرب، ونحن ضد الحروب. نحن نتمنى أنه يعم بالشرق الأوسط السلام. نحن نتمنى عودة الجولان والانضمام لوطننا.
واليوم نحن نتمنى من حكومتنا الجديدة أن تسعى لتحرير الجولان.
As Israel continues to hold back the Golan region, locals as well as the UN recognizes the Golan Heights as part of Syria.
US President Donald Trump said that he wants to hold talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin to propose that all three countries cut their military budgets in half in a bid to call for denuclearization across the world. Here's what Trump said and what he plans to do.
Days after Trump said he held a 90-minute conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin discussing ways to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict, reiterating his statement again, Trump said he trusts Putin wants peace with Ukraine and called for denuclearization of talks with Russia and China. Speaking to reporters on Thursday, Trump said he wants to hold talks with Putin and Xi Jinping to propose that all three countries cut their military budgets in half.
At some point, when things settle down, I'm going to meet with China, and I'm going to meet with Russia, in particular those two, and I'm going to say there's no reason for us to be spending almost $1 trillion on military. There's no reason for you to be spending $400 billion. China's going to be at 400 billion. We're at $1 trillion. We're going to be at close to $1 trillion. You know, we were trying to de-escalate nuclear, and I was in a position where Russia had agreed and China had agreed we were going to start, and then we had a rigged election, so that never took place. But this one was too big to rig. We won by so much that it was too big to rig.
Trump argued that massive funding could be utilized elsewhere for more productive purposes.
I'd like to have that. As soon as things settle down, I'm going to have that conference, primarily with China and Russia, because those are the two that really are out there. And we're going to have them spend a lot less money, and we're going to spend a lot less money. And I know they're going to do it. They agreed to it. We were talking about denuking, and President Putin and I agreed that we were going to do it in a very big way.
During his first term, Trump attempted to involve China in nuclear arms reduction discussions, while the US and Russia were negotiating an extension of the New START treaty. However, Russia suspended its participation in the treaty during the Biden administration as both nations continued efforts to modernize their nuclear arsenals. China has historically rejected US's efforts to engage in nuclear arms talks, stating that US and Russia must first significantly reduce their larger stockpiles. With Trump reiterating his proposal on denuclearization, the question yet remains, will China and Russia cooperate with Trump administration's military reduction?
Well, it's time for a quick break. On the other side, we'll tell you more about India's wearable device market witnessing a significant decline in 2024. Stay tuned.